Okay, $100 a piece, $100 billion a piece of garbage you're gonna leave because they'd really kill you here. They have axe murderers. Okay. Finally, after much throat clearing, it's a matter of fact, Tibbet George Mansell rang me this morning. We are neighbors, you see. I've known the family for years, and so has my wife. When she was alive, that is. That's why well, the fact is that Major Mansell would be pleased if you would take luncheon at the Grange today. Just to get acquainted, as it were. It was purely family affair. That's why I didn't suggest that you take your sergeant or anybody else. It'll, give you a chance to form your own opinion of Sir John. Stop tugging at his gray mustache in some embarrassment. Yeah, they're Irish, of course. The Manseples? Queried Henry politely. That's right. It was George's grandfather who first came over and settled in England, I believe. It was a Protestant family. Then there was George's father, the famous Augustus Mansell, who was headmaster of Kingmarsh School. Say, quite a character. He bought a Craigswell Grange some 50 years ago. It has been the family home ever since. I think it's a good notion that you should lunch there. You speak as though there are large families, sir, said Henry. Oh, no, not really. No, that's the usual. Why, there were just George and his wife Violet. Oh, no, and Aunt Dora, of course. That's Miss Dora Mansell, Augustus' sister. But just at the moment, well, you know that the family reunion was like family reunions? Yes, it's a way of being a gathering of the clan. The Grange just now. Brothers and daughters, well, you meet them at lunch. George expects you is 12:30, so perhaps you better be goodbye, Tibbet, and good luck. George Grange was an upright, ugly house. Craigswell Grange was an upright, ugly house built of sand-colored stone in the early years of the 19th century. Stood on the small mound just outside the village, a mound which, in those flat and marshy parts, was undeservedly known as Craigswell Hill. Around the house, woods and shrubberies and gardens and pastures threw up a protective camouflage screen, so that the dubious architecture of the residence itself did not break upon the visitor's eye until he had navigated several bends of the winding drive which led from the public road. Henry, having studied sketch maps of the place in Inspector Roberts's office, knew what to expect. He also knew when his car rounded the final bend, which brought the house into the view, they must have arrived at the very spot where the unfortunate Mr. Mason had met his death. And since there was nobody in sight, Henry decided to stop the car and take a brief look around. Yes, people die, but this was murder. They said we have a river here, the river where they would like to raise ducks because of good meat, right? So the ducks are a good product, but we have to litigate that they can't just raise ducks here, right? $85 million in PFA's lawsuits. Foreign kids can't just free-range ducks on the river. There's 5 Great Lakes. The ducks don't really need you around. They don't really like you. Can't free-range ducks on the river. It's a good choice, right? They have to have PFA lawsuits that they can't just raise ducks there. Ducks don't really like you. They don't really need you. They just don't like what you do at the place. So the ducks don't really like you. They can't really just raise farm ducks there. They need like $85 million in PFA lawsuits that they don't like you. Really need you, but they don't really like what you do at the place, and they have to sue you for like all this money. They can't raise free-range ducks on your own. Ducks are a refined product. It's a good source of protein. You made X-rated cow books that they have to schmoon everyone with your X-rated cow books, so we don't care if you had cows, right? Foreign kids have to sue you and litigate. They can't just raise ducks on their. They have fish you can't really eat. They go litigate. They can't just raise fish you can serve regularly in their rivers and lakes. You want to just clean it up. They litigate that they couldn't just serve fish and ducks on your river and lake, right? Swan Lake, where they just didn't have anyone to serve the duck, huh? They couldn't just, they had to litigate it. You couldn't just raise it. So you could just raise the ducks, couldn't just have free range fish, you couldn't just have it there. To go litigate it. Because the food is really political when you can't just raise it there and serve food you can eat, right? With sumptuous dishes and they can't just serve it and go, oh God, I love my sumptuous meals. So you can't just raise the fish free range, you can't just serve it, they can't pay for it, they can't buy it. You can't serve it safely because you really ordered bad stuff. You knew it was bad.